The younger the soul, the more innocent the soul, because they've had less chance to sin. So the more innocent the soul that they sacrifice, the more power in the sacrifice. And that was told to me, again, by a practicing Satanist. When they kill the child...
We all know Joe Rogan. He's the guy who doesn't flinch when he's talking to people who claim they've seen things that would make your skin crawl. But when the conversation shifted to Ellen DeGeneres and the claims surrounding her inner circle, something felt fundamentally different. There was no pushback from Rogan, no skepticism, no joking around. There was just a heavy, uncomfortable silence. For the first time, millions of viewers weren't just watching a talk show host's reputation get questioned, they were watching a mask begin to slip in real time. Once the dots started being connected by Rogan and his guests to the alleged connection of Ellen to the Epstein circle, the internet didn't just walk away, it rushed back to revisit 20 years of footage with completely different eyes.
She's shook. She's shook right now.
Go to your roots. You're a comic. Stand by it, man.
Well, there's several other articles written about her being an
being mean.
That. Yeah, because
listen,
people capitalize.
I've heard about it. I've heard of it. It's, in entertainment, it's all around.
Don't you also think that she's one of those tooth and claw, get to the top? That's why she became Ellen in the first place, and that makes a lot of enemies.
For a woman whose entire billion-dollar legacy was built on the foundation of being kind, the appearance of her name within the dark pages of the Epstein files is a devastating blow to her credibility. Regardless of the specific context of her inclusion, the sheer proximity to one of history's most notorious figures represents a massive failure of accountability for someone who positioned herself as Hollywood's moral compass. It raises a glaring, uncomfortable question. How does the Queen of Nice find herself in the same social orbit as a predator like Jeffrey Epstein? For years, she preached transparency and goodness to her audience, yet when it comes to her ties to the world's most scrutinized inner circle, there is only a cold, calculated silence. This isn't just about a list, it's about the staggering irony of an elite icon who asks her viewers for their trust while her name lingers in a ledger of shadows, proving that her brand of kindness may have only ever been a shield for the company she chose to keep.
Earlier I mentioned some conspiracies, and I want to talk to you about what the internet has been cooking up, and this one is insane. I need to address something that's been blowing up online since these files started dropping, because every time these documents like this get released, the internet does what the internet does. So there's a claim circulating right now that the Epstein files reveal Ellen DeGeneres as, and I'm quoting this directly from the posts, Hollywood's most prolific cannibal, that she consumed human flesh. People are sharing distorted images of her face, writing paragraphs about underground dystopias, calling her a vampire. Now, Ellen DeGeneres is named in the Epstein documents, and that part is real. Her name appears in the broader index of over 300 high-profile individuals that show up across the investigative materials. Flight logs, communications, third-party interviews, peripheral records.
During the research into these leaked files, another name surfaced that sent social media into overdrive, a restaurant called The Cannibal. According to emails found in the Epstein files, there were mentions of a chef who worked at this New York-based establishment and was reportedly involved in making jerky for the group.
Obviously, beef jerky's dried out, so you don't need to refrigerate it, so putting it in the freezer would be kind of contradicting to making jerky to begin with, since it's supposed to be something that was made for people to have on the go and they wouldn't have to refrigerate like cowboys back in the day. And 6 bags of it, and he's gonna start eating regular food? Jerky is a regular food. Francis has come tomorrow to show me how to make it. Jerky class, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his new jerky recipe for the restaurant and send a warm hello. He is working at a restaurant called, I'm gonna say Hannibal, a word that rhymes with Hannibal, like Hannibal Lecter, and cooks. Wait for it, beef jerky and steak. He has time at 3 p.m. tomorrow if that's okay with you. It is very sus that there's a restaurant named after the activity I really think they're doing. And after a little bit of investigating, there is a restaurant in New York called that, and it's closed. It's shut down. Jeffrey asked that you make some beef jerky for him, please. Please confirm. Thank you. Like, These are like filthy rich people. Can't they just order some? It just seems to be a lot of conversations about these acquisitions of jerky. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge at 71st Street, which is probably someplace in New York. Please get it. And also, Redacted has more at her place. Please get it all from her as well and bring it all with you. I suppose it needs to be in a cold insulated bag, right? Thank you. Now we all know jerky does not need to be in a cold insulated bag. No one asked that question when talking about jerky.
The name of the restaurant alone was enough to raise eyebrows, but the fact that it eventually shut its doors only added to the mystery. Rogan and his guests discussed how sus it was that such a specific, oddly named place was tied into these high-level conversations about acquisitions and specialized food recipes. For a public already looking for reasons to distrust the elite, the connection between a restaurant named The Cannibal and jerky code words was like pouring gasoline on a fire.
Some of it is in code, like walking over beef jerky, like talking about jerky. Could you walk beef jerky over to this person? Like, what does that mean?
For all this pizza they're talking about,
Right.
you never see any pizza.
Right. Well, I think with the Epstein files, people are, because of these emails that have been released, people are just now starting to be aware of the bizarreness of the code. It's glaringly obvious when they say pizza and when they say jerky. That's
Yeah.
glaringly
Listen,
obvious.
last time
How
I
do you
was-
walk jerky?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And why do I need a chilled container to,
Right.
A chilled bag or whatever they say?
Jesus Christ.
And
So you think they're eating babies?
oh yeah, I absolutely believe that.
You should get together with Kurt Metzger. You would go crazy.
I don't doubt it for a second.
The rabbit hole goes even deeper when you look into the leaked Epstein flight logs and contact lists. It's no secret that Ellen's social circle overlaps with some of the most influential and, subsequently, most scrutinized people in the world. But it was the food language in the leaked emails that caught the attention of the Rogan crew. We've all heard the theories about certain food words being used as codes, but there was a new word that started appearing in the files: jerky. Rogan and his guests analyzed these emails, pointing out that multimillionaires and billionaires were having incredibly detailed conversations about jerky in a way that simply didn't make sense. They were using language that didn't square with how food actually gets eaten or talked about by normal people. It felt like a glimpse into a secret dialect used by those who believe they are above the law.
How many grown men email each other about getting pizza, or about how tasty the pizza was, or about how many slices you can slice a pizza up into, or how many people will be at the pizza party? Then there's another email. It stuck out to me because it has the word Red Hook in it. Someone was emailing asking if another guy can go to Red Hook for a pizza meal later. It turns out that Red Hook is the address of where Jeffrey Epstein's Virgin Islands businesses are domiciled. It's on the marina where you would leave in the boat to get to his island. And someone was emailing asking if another man can go to where Jeffrey Epstein's business is domiciled for a pizza meal. They're using food language in ways that does not square with how food actually gets eaten or talked about.
Perhaps the most famous and unsettling allegation to come out of the workplace scandal was the eye contact rule. Multiple staff members claimed that they were explicitly instructed never to make eye contact with Ellen while passing her in the hallways. Think about the psychology of that for a second. You work for the Queen of Kindness, but if you look her in the eye, you might lose your job. It's a level of elitism that feels more like a monarchy than a talk show. Rogan's guests were baffled by this, pointing out that it creates a culture of dehumanization. When you can't look at your boss, you're not a teammate, you're an extra in their movie. This wasn't just a disgruntled employee complaining, it was a consistent pattern of behavior reported by people across departments, all painting a picture of a woman who had become completely disconnected from the people around her.
And he was like, it's a huge show. It was a really good opportunity to work there, but she was difficult. And I was like, what do you mean she was difficult? It's Ellen. Like she's trying to run a show and keep everyone's job, right? So I try to give people that grace. And he was like, no, Dax, you don't understand. We were told not to look her in the eyes. When Ellen is walking through the halls, you don't look at her. You don't make eye contact. You do not talk to her. This was all the time. After the show, she would be rushed out into her car and leave. We could not have any contact with her. And I was like, Oh man, that's kind of shitty. You could never have any interaction with the host of the show.
But it wasn't just the public appearances that were raising eyebrows. It was what was happening inside her own home. During the 2020 lockdowns, Ellen began filming live segments from her massive estate. And instead of focusing on her comedy, viewers started paying attention to the walls. Many people online pointed out that the artwork in her home seemed to feature symbols they described as ritualistic or creepy. We're talking about dark, abstract pieces that many felt had an unsettling energy. In the world of high-retention YouTube content, these visuals are gold. People began dissecting the paintings, looking for occult symbols and hidden messages. The contrast between the bright, sunny set of her talk show and the dark, heavy imagery in her private home was a visual representation of the duality that Rogan and his guests were exploring.
Oh, but I don't know if you saw the Ellen live. Ellen went live, right?
Ellen live on what? Like Instagram?
Like Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And like it showed parts of her house, right? And I don't know why, but Ellen's eyes have been like really f***ing me up so far, but it's like different colored lenses. It's really creepy. But all the paintings that are in her house are done by this guy who does like I guess like certain rituals, like satanic rituals.
Yeah.
And you can see like in one of the paintings there's triangles and shit like that, right? And I read up more about it. Those triangles are the same triangles that they do when they try to like summon something. So every time Ellen has like 3 pictures specifically.
Yeah.
And one, it was so but in quotation marks it spells out revenge.
Revenge of what though?
Revenge. I don't know, but that was part of the picture. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, I have a chain that's exactly like that. That spells out revenge. I was like, oh, my, I gotta throw that shit away.
One specific piece of art in her home became a major talking point on the Joe Rogan Experience and across social media. It was a painting that featured a crown and the word revenge spelled out in heavy, bold letters. To some, it was just a Basquiat-style piece of modern art, but to others, it was a message. Why would the Queen of Kindness have the word revenge prominently displayed in her home? Rogan's guests discussed the satanic or ritualistic vibes they got from her decor, pointing out that the imagery used, triangles, distorted faces, and dark themes, is often associated with high-level occultism in certain circles. Whether it was just an expensive art collection or something more meaningful, it shifted the public's perception of her from a friendly talk show host to a mysterious figure with very dark tastes.
I mean, that's right. She was buddies with Bush. That was like
she's
one of the
a
first
CIA agent. Stephen Paddock. And do not ask me for sources, but Stephen Paddock.
Who's that?
He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning? Ellen.
Really?
Weird. And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird like diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's like showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional, like how are you feeling, how are you holding up. It was a weird diagram of like, and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to, look, what the hell's going on? This is a daytime show.
Which is the Paddock guy? And there's 2 guys there?
The chubbier guy is the Jesus guy. And now Ellen is doing a thing of how the shooting happened.
Look how she's got like an antenna from someone's Buick that she's popped off and she's using it as a pointer.
But why the hell is this happening on like a daytime show where this is weird?
Where'd she get that pointer?
I don't know. She stole it off an intern's car.
Why wouldn't you just use your finger? Like if that was you, if it was your show, the Tim Dillon show, wouldn't you just point?
Yeah, this is also a giant screen behind her, so they could have just put it on that screen.
So, but she's using this thing. I find it very strange. I don't know why.
Wait a minute, those aren't real palm trees?
No.
Yeah, it's not real. I know that street though. I know that block in Beverly Hills that she used.
How weird is that?
I don't know why they're doing this on a daytime talk show.
Let's keep it running. Look at it. She's dressed like Colonel Sanders. Not Colonel Sanders. She's dressed like Sergeant Pepper.
This guy looks like a member of her staff.
What kind of outfit is she wearing?
I don't know. She wears those weird, like, militant, lesbian
that should tell you
uniform.
Something.
Yeah.
Like, that's an odd look with all those buttons. Like, why do you have so many wrist buttons?
It was given to her in Langley.
The only reason why you have that many wrist buttons if you're looking to clothesline somebody.
Yeah, look at her. Look at her. Everyone says she looks so friendly. She looks friendly.
Yeah, she does look very military.
Yeah.
They don't want you to remember what Sandra Bullock actually said on Ellen's couch. They don't want you to look into the penis facial. The adrenochrome theory suggests that the global elite don't just stop at skin creams. It alleges they harvest a specific chemical compound from the blood of the young to achieve a state of permanent vitality and high that no other drug can provide. While the mainstream media calls this a basement-dwelling fantasy, the Sandra Bullock interview provided a rare televised moment of vampiric transparency. If the elite are openly admitting to using the cells of infants to keep their faces from wrinkling on a daytime talk show, it's not a huge leap to wonder what's happening behind the closed doors of private clinics and underground labs.
Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra? Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
Another controversy erupted when Ellen was spotted sitting courtside at a football game with former President George W. Bush. They were laughing and joking like old friends. Given the political climate, the backlash was immediate. Ellen tried to get ahead of it by giving a monologue on her show about civility and being friends with people you disagree with. Be kind to everyone, she said. But to a public that was already seeing the mask slip, it didn't feel like a lesson in kindness. It felt like another billionaire defending another billionaire. It felt like a display of the elite class protecting one another, regardless of their public-facing politics. The Be Kind shield was officially broken, and the public wasn't buying it anymore.
Finally tonight, we thought we'd address kindness, civility, and politics, which don't seem to be mentioned in the same sentence much these days. It took a greeting on the gridiron between former President George W. Bush and Ellen DeGeneres to bring it into sharp focus.
It may not seem like a big deal for a celebrity to attend a football game, but I never leave my house, so it is a big deal.
Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, were invited to sit in the private box of Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Former President George W. Bush and his wife, Laura, were also there.
But during the game, they showed a shot of George and me laughing together, and so people were upset. They thought, why is a gay Hollywood liberal sitting next to a conservative Republican president? Didn't even notice I'm holding the brand new iPhone 11. But a lot of people were mad, and they did what people do when they're mad. They tweet, and but here's one tweet that I loved. This person says, Ellen and George Bush together makes me have faith in America again.
But instead of getting into the fray on social media, Ellen used the moment to preach about civility.
Here's the thing. I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of people who don't share the same beliefs that I have. We're all different, and I think that we've forgotten that that's okay that we're all different. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone. Doesn't matter.
To understand the full weight of the allegations against Ellen, you have to look at the people who were actually in her inner circle. None are more significant than her ex-girlfriend, Anne Heche. Before her tragic and mysterious passing, Anne began to speak out about what it was really like to be in Ellen's orbit. She claimed that she had been canceled and blackballed by the industry, specifically because of her relationship with Ellen. Anne described a system of power that was used to bury her and any truth she tried to tell. She famously said she had been canceled since the day she was born because she dared to challenge the narrative that the industry wanted her to follow.
Think about Ellen. And in fact, I haven't said that yet. I have not rambled on about her for one single moment. For 20 years, I have withheld my understanding. I have been canceled since the day I was born. I've been buried since the day I was born. Every single truth that I spoke, I was hit more, buried more, or despised more, and then had calculated visions and circulations of systems that spun me up and out of the system that would in any way challenge the fact that she was not telling her own truth, but another's. Why do you think she tried to put me in an institution, folks? I called my mother. Guess what? 2 people who wanted more than anything to have my truth buried. It was not my timing. I did not and could not ask God for what that would be. All I could do was stay on my truth, do what I was doing, and study this thing called love that we tried to bury. And now I am up and out of the ground. And unfortunately, those 2 women could not shut me down. Whew. Want to start over?
No, but let's talk about for a minute, because look, there's so much to unpack here with the Ellen thing, and I think that since we've started it, we might as well finish it.
Good, because then I think it's enough talk about her. Let's get on to some fun stuff.
Yes, but I do want to talk about how, look, basically what we're saying here is that she basically pitched herself as the queen of kindness, and we're finding that perhaps was not the case. And you're saying that in your experience with her, that was not the case. And in fact, that was kind of your jam. So kind of stole your look.
To say the least.
And
How
so,
does my hair look,
the
by the
irony
way?
of it is that you've always been saying the same thing. You are somebody who's
That's
always
one thing you can say about
been
me.
saying the same thing. And when you say something that is not quite organic to you or truthful, you're gonna get popped. And where I see her having done this and just plain proof, people can tell us all the things they want to tell us, but I saw it completely when she did the 20th anniversary of her coming out episode, and she sat with Oprah and they did an entire documentary on it, and your name was not mentioned once. You were cut out of the story. You were actually literally cut out of the picture. They showed when you and Ellen went on Oprah's show, and they had a tight shot on Ellen, and you were sitting right next to her, and you were cut out of it, and you were cut out of that part of the story. And you were such a big part of that story because when you took her to that movie premiere and you were basically blackballed from that moment on, that's a part of the story.
The end of Anne Heche's life is a chapter that still haunts the internet. We all saw the news, the erratic driving, the horrific crash into a home in Los Angeles. On paper, it was a tragic accident, but then the helicopter footage surfaced. As the paramedics were wheeling a body completely covered in a white sheet to the ambulance, something unthinkable happened. The person under the sheet, presumably Anne, suddenly sat up and struggled. They fought to get off the gurney. If she was dead or non-responsive on the scene, as was reported, why was she fighting for her life seconds later? If she was alive, why was she being treated as if she were already gone? To this day, that footage is used by researchers to suggest that Anne was being silenced before she could finish the work she started.
Trying to get into that building to get that driver out of that car. While all this was going on, they couldn't get to that car. They actually had to call in heavy rescue. That's what you see right there. They hooked up cables to that car, pulled it out. It's actually in that driveway. And then the driver, well, LA City Fire Department, their paramedics pulled that driver from that vehicle. We have tape of that, and then basically had him on a gurney. We weren't sure what the situation was there on his condition, but then as he made his way over to the ambulance, you see it right there, he jumps up out of that gurney. It was horrific, scary for a moment for everybody watching, and then the fire department, well, they had to sedate him and take him to the hospital. Right now, though, the structure is still standing. No other victims inside that home. But again, this happening out here in Palms this afternoon. Crazy thing to see for sure. But again, that no other injuries, and that driver now in the hospital. I'm Stu up in Skyfox. Back to you guys.
So where does that leave us? Joe Rogan didn't end Ellen's career with a single blow. He simply provided the space for the truth to finally breathe. Ellen's downfall wasn't just about one mean boss or one weird interview. It was about the total collapse of a version of Hollywood that we no longer believe in. We are moving into an era where be kind is no longer enough to hide what's happening in the shadows. When we look back at the Ellen DeGeneres era, we won't remember the dancing or the giveaways. We'll remember the silence of the staff, the architectural coincidences, the jerky emails, and the woman on the gurney who refused to go quietly. It's a reminder that in the world of the elite, the brightest lights often hide the deepest shadows. Joe Rogan didn't have to reveal the truth. He just had to stop talking and let us look for ourselves. And what we found was something far more creepy than any of us could have imagined.